Welcome back to another episode of Do Better. Today we'll be looking at jungling with Loki, the trickster god. Today I'm going to be talking about how to jungle Loki in Conquest. Now, I'm not very good at jungle Loki. He can be done, but I absolutely hate jungling with Loki. I prefer not to play Conquest with Loki. I'd rather do him in arena, pretty much stick to arena only, because he's a very selfish, very well used with stealing kills and making sure you get those early kills, and that's not very helpful for your team when it comes to Conquest. He's don't do a very good job in this video of jungling. Hopefully we'll never try jungling him again, and there's a reason for why he's not that great of a jungle. Sure, people can jungle him, but he's not that great of a jungle, is because Hi-Rez hasn't really made jungle very efficient, and this is completely my opinion, but they haven't made jungling very efficient. You should be able to, while jungling, maintain enough farm and gold to compete with other people in lane, so you shouldn't have to absolutely go to a lane to get farm. And that's what I tended to find with Loki, is I'd have to start out, like if I was in the jungle, I'd have to go to lane to get some farm to get up my level so I can get some abilities. That being said, there are other junglers that do a far better job than Loki. There's Arachne, which is the crowd favorite because she's just like Elise in League of Legends. You can throw down your little spiderlings and they'll fight for you and take the damage and tank for you. But there are other junglers which are tougher, like Bakasura, Loki, and they don't have minions fighting for them. They're taking all the damage for themselves, so it really requires a higher level of skill as far as jungling and actual in-game level to be successful at it. I'm not an expert at jungling Loki, but I have some tips that I do believe will help you do better if you really want to do Loki, and this is the series called Do Better. So, number one is I would not start off in the jungle. I'd start off being either left or right lane, and make sure you start off with the blue buff. That'll give you XP, starting XP, which is quick, and you can take the buff, or your person who's going to be solo laning for a little bit, they can have the buff. You want to start off in the lane until you're level 4 or 5. When you get your ultimate, that's better, but 4 or 5, and then you can make your way into the jungle. So I would make my way into getting the Harpies dead, and then going into maybe speed buff or red buff. If you really want to go for red buff, you can get that, and that'll help with your ganking. But since you've been spending most of your time on one side of the map, let's say you started the left side, you kind of want to make your way towards middle and more so right, but you also got to be conscious of the guy you left in lane, who you started out with, because he's going to need your help, and it is your job to help him out because he is fighting the 2-on-1. Another tip that I would give you is start off with Boomba's Mask. I know it's kind of the typical jungling item, but it really helps when it comes to juggling and getting those buffs. My third tip is giving lane presence. If your mid is getting pushed back down to his tower, don't be afraid to go jump in on that Ra that's pushing your Poseidon. Attacking the enemy's mid really helps bring up the confidence in your mid, and their mid will obviously be conscious of a gank, so they're not going to want to go up as far. So you causing damage to him, for one, brings down his health. You could get a kill, and it also gives lane presence, and you let him know, hey, I'm here, back the hell off my mid. Tip number 4, counter jungling. You want to counter jungle as much as you possibly can. And in Smite, you can only pick up one buff at a time as of currently. So if you go to their jungle when you don't have a buff, pick up a buff. But if you want to keep getting XP, a great idea is to start killing their buffs, because it'll leave the buff on the ground waiting to get respawned or picked up by one of your guys, and they can't grab it. It's your buff, they can't grab it. So that's a great way to counter jungle. And my fifth and last tip as Loki for jungle would be never go for the tank, always go for the squishy. And I know that is a very, very typical. You're supposed to only go for the squishies, never the tank with Loki. But you should be building lifesteal as a jungler, for one, so that'll help you. But that doesn't mean you have the ability to go after a tank, or you should go after a tank. If his health's low enough and you know you can kill him, sure. But make sure to get those carries, those AP carries, those supports dead first. Then focus on the tank. Because if you're attacking the tank, you're you're basically doing his job, is to eat your damage, while their carries are just picking off your guys one by one. Whereas you're an assassin, you need to get behind them, you need to kill their carries and kill their power. I just want to thank my subscriber Ink on Tube for asking me to make this video and to help you guys out. If you want me to elaborate more, I can private message you, or I can talk to you on Skype, help you out. Please keep a lookout for my next video. I'm going to be doing my build for Loki, one of my builds for Loki, so keep an eye out for that, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.